Our special guest today is Cloverton. Thanks for being with us today, guys. We really appreciate it.
Sure. Definitely.
So you played at the Underground last night in Cincinnati, Detroit tonight, Cedarville, Ohio tomorrow. Now, everybody in the band is relatively young, but still, the constant touring has to take its toll. So what's life like out on the road for you guys?
I'll answer this one, I guess. It's good. It's like we're doing what we want to do, like what we feel called to do. But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't mean that there aren't some negative things, pros and cons. We're out a lot. We're not at home. We don't sleep in our own beds very often. But the reward is big when we get to talk to people after the shows and just kind of see what kind of influence our music and just Christian music in general is making in their lives, and that we get to be a part of that by being with them for a night. It makes it worth it. So.
Okay, so Kirby and Kara, you just had the baby Jackson, right? And he's 10 months old. So talk about what it's like to be on the road with an infant child.
It's great, other than the van rides. He does not like being locked into that car seat. He is an active baby. So, but it's a lot of fun just to get to do this with my family and to be out on the road with them. And I don't know. It's just a neat experience. It'll be fun to see how he grows up doing that and what his take will be on it when he's old enough to communicate what that's like. So.
Now, I'm just watching you guys today. We're at Cross Point Christian Church in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. This is your first time in the Detroit area. So you literally rolled up around 12:45, and you had to unload the trailer with all the equipment, do the sound check, get some lunch, change, maybe have a little prayer time before the show. So in the midst of all this, I mean, this is a full day. Do you get to spend quality time with your son?
A little bit. Yeah, but the van is it. So it's the 3 hours on the drive here that I get to hang out with him. But no, I get to hang out with him a lot when we're at home, and then while we're on the road, some playtime here and there. But yeah, when I'm doing the thing, it's just kind of an in and out kind of thing. So
Lance, how did you meet your wife, Gabriella?
I lead worship at a church where home is, and she actually is an alumni of the school that we meet in. We it's a church plant, so we don't have a building, so we move into a school every week, and so she went to that school, and that's kind of the short story of how I actually met her. And then we dated, and then we didn't date, and then we dated again and decided to get married. So, and all these guys knew her because, well, these two guys went to the same high school as she did, and so she knew these guys before she even knew me, probably. So
I noticed that Gabriella and Kara, they do a lot of work. So what role do they play in the band behind the scenes, and how important is it to have your wife out on the road with you?
They probably do more work than the 3 or 4 of us combined, and we probably don't realize it. They do a lot of the detail stuff that we don't think about. I know that right now, Kara especially, and Kirby, they do the financial side of the business. As much as we don't want it to be a business, there are business aspects to what we're doing, and it takes lots of detail and lots of keeping numbers straight and facts straight as far as we're out, on the road and trying to sell things at our table. And then Gabe is my wife, Gabe, we call her Gabe sometimes. She'll do anything from running the sound booth to tonight she's running lights. She'll help with merch. She just kind of does wherever, we need her. So.
Okay, so a lot of people think that you, Lance, and Kirby are twin brothers, but actually your twin is Lane.
Yep.
So what was it like for you, Lane, growing up with Lance, and when did you realize that you had some kind of a musical chemistry with your brother and started playing together?
We grew up in a real musical family. My dad's a music teacher. He's retired now, but he taught music for several years and actually taught my brother and I and my sister all piano lessons. So we're from like the age of 6, we were around music all the time. We got some chances in growing up singing in choirs and stuff together, but it wasn't until after we were out of college until we decided to try to do stuff like this a little bit more often. And then as it progressed and it became kind of more of a thing we wanted to do as a bigger group, and I guess, as they say, the rest is history.
So the nucleus of Cloverton is you two guys playing in your bedroom in the basement, and it grew from there?
Mostly we would sing in choirs. We grew up in a conservative church, so our music background was mostly singing and choirs. So we would sing. We had a sister, so we'd sing trios at church, or sometimes we'd sing duets, but we didn't really play in a band. I didn't know how to play the guitar. He didn't pick up the guitar till college, and then after that was when we kind of started to pursue that a little bit more. So
All right, well, let's talk about that. I want to talk about the Cloverton sound. I mean, when you started out, obviously it's based on the keyboards. That's your instrument. So was that your original vision, or did you have something else in mind?
I ran away for a long time from wanting to do music because my dad was a music teacher, and so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something else, kind of, make my own path. And so for the longest time, I tried to find other things that I would, try to find things that I was good at, so that I wouldn't end up doing music. And I loved music. I just didn't want it to be my full-time thing. And then eventually, it when the calling gets so loud, you can't ignore it. And so for a long time, one of the reasons I actually learned to play the guitar is because I thought you couldn't be in a rock band and just play the piano. And then the trend has kind of changed over the last 5 or 10 years, where the piano is kind of coming back as a more predominant instrument. So lucky for me, we have good timing, I guess. But my first instrument was the piano, and I didn't really envision it being the kind of the core of our sound, but it's become that just because that was my first instrument, and it's kind of what the trend is now in music. So
who were some of your early influences?
Oh man, let's see. REM, I listened to REM some. I listened to Third Day. I was a big Third Day fan as far as Christian music goes. Third Day, DC Talk, some of those like a cappella bands like AVB, and I don't know if anyone else has heard of those, but those really cool hip bands. But there was some of that, and then my parents, like my dad directed a choir, so we listened to like gospel, Southern gospel. Some of that's in our background. REM, some U2, Billy Joel. He's a piano guy, so yeah, a variety of stuff.
So one of the most interesting things about your story, Lance, is that I read that you actually suffer from stage fright, and now here you are, the front man for this hot new Christian band that's getting international attention. So How does that work?
I have a really good cast around me that keeps me from being terrified. Really, it's something you develop over time. One thing that really helped me is I became a worship pastor at church, where I was up front every week leading people. And so more or less every night we're basically leading people into worship. And so I try to approach it that way rather than, okay, I'm getting up in front of a bunch of people and playing songs that they've never heard of, and more kind of approaching it from more of a worship standpoint. So
I've asked many artists that very same question. Even Stephen Curtis Chapman, I had a chance to sit down with him a couple of weeks ago, and I said, how do you keep your head screwed on straight? Because we say it's not about us, it's about Jesus, and we want to give all the glory to him, but still we're the ones with the microphones and the spotlights and going on tour and doing the radio interviews. So how do you keep it all in perspective?
I think an important thing, at least for, I don't know what Kirby would say. I think my wife being on the road with us helps. She kind of keeps me focused on the things I need to be thinking about, and we also are plugged into our churches back home. I think that helps. We're not gone I know we're here on a Sunday, but typically we're home a majority of Sundays every month, and so that's good to stay connected to a local community that can keep us, supported in prayer, and then also just keep us in check when we're back, that our heads aren't getting big and that we're keeping the main thing. So.
All right, so a major turning point for Cloverton was the group winning Toby Mac's Camp Electric last year. Mm-hmm. So what was that whole experience like for you?
It was pretty cool. No, it was, we entered the contest with only 5 days left for any group to enter, and it was a complete God thing. Our fans voted us into the top 50 out of 800 and some bands, and they took us in the top 10, and it was, a surreal experience. And, after completing our first year and 6 months later, we're opening up for Toby Mac. Things just kind of have been in a whirlwind ever since. But it's been a good experience, put us in the studio. We recorded the single that, it just hit radio back in February. It's done really well for us. And, so it's been a good experience.
So it's amazing. Take Me Into the Beautiful has just propelled you from Manhattan, Kansas to the global stage, because from what I understand, that song is in the top 5 in Australia, and it's being played in Europe as well.
It's definitely given us an opportunity to see both sides of the states. I haven't done well. I guess we just went to Kenya a couple weeks ago, so we got to perform there, which was kind of cool. But yeah, it's been a really good experience.
Well, I want to go there for a minute because I was talking to Gabriella, your wife, Lance, backstage a few minutes ago, and I asked her what Kenya was like, and she said it was total culture shock.
Yeah.
So can you speak to the whole Kenyan experience?
Yeah, none of us had been out of the country before. Well, honeymoons probably, but Matt had been in Brazil a few years back, but Kenya was new experience. We didn't really know what to expect. And we'd seen a lot of pictures, videos, because we were partnering with a nonprofit to go over there. So we'd seen what they were doing, but actually being there and like smelling the smells and being like right up next to the kids, like not seeing them on a screen, but actually seeing them and being able to reach out and touch them and stuff was it's way different. And the culture shock, I probably speak for all of us in saying it probably wasn't as much there as it was when we got home and realized all the things that we just take for granted. Like I remember when we got home, Matt tweeted something about, I'm taking a shower for the first time in a week where I don't have to be worried that the water gets in my mouth. And like things like that, like they continue to like come back and be like, oh my gosh, we're so fortunate over here. So
well, one of the things that Gabe was saying is that she was blown away by how little those people have, but yet how grateful they are. Yeah. And then if you come back home to the U.S., we're filthy rich, even the poorest people compared to them, and yet we still complain.
Yeah, I mean, it was really weird when we walked through the slums, seeing how the kids were all so content, and it's because they don't know any different. Like their reality is what they have, and they don't know that there's like they should expect something more. Where in this, in this country, we expect so much because of what is available and what's out there, and so definitely a culture shock. For sure.
All right, well, let's talk about the radio single, Take Me Into the Beautiful. What's the story behind that song?
The inspiration behind that is from a story in the Old Testament where God is spending time with Moses. Moses on the mountain with him, and when he comes down, his face is glowing, so he has to wear a veil over his face. And so he's actually been physically changed by being in the presence of God. And so it's the idea that God is always moving and active around and among us, and if we choose to become a part of what he's doing, if we become aware of it and get on the same direction that he's moving, it could be something that's very beautiful and very very unique. And so that was what we were going through through this song, was just a different perspective of worship and an awareness of being in the presence and being actively involved in what God's doing right now. So
well, Lance Stafford and Cloverton, have a great show tonight, and thanks so much for coming on Behind the Music. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Take me into the beautiful, won't you take me back again? With the love unexplainable, come and fill up this dry land. Let it open our eyes to see a whole world we've never seen. Let it open our hearts up to feel you inside of us, inside of me. Take me to the beautiful, where the rivers flow, where the love that never ends. Oh, I wanna go to the beautiful, la 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 la. Take me to the beautiful, where the faces glow, where the light that never dims. Oh, I wanna go to the beautiful, come on and take me again. Take me into the mystery, gently lift me with your grace. Make the chaos a chorus, with yourself come fill this place. Cover me with your